In a world where wealth and status determined your worth, Adaobi had it all. Luxury cars, power and riches that could make anyone's dreams come true. They say money can't buy happiness, but Adaobi was convinced it could. But behind the shining surface of her life was a deeper story, one that was ready to be told. In the bustling city of Lagos, Nigeria, in a small but lively neighborhood, lived a young girl with dreams far bigger than her humble surroundings. Her name was Adaobi. Adaobi was born into a humble home. Her father, Mr. Obi, was a civil servant who worked long hours, and her mother, Mrs. Obi, owned a provisions shop on the street. They didn't have much, but they did their best to provide for Adaobi and her two younger brothers. However, from a young age, Adaobi had an appetite for luxury that her parents couldn't understand. At just 7 years old, while her peers were content with simple toys and clothes, she would sit glued to the TV, her eyes wide with wonder at the glamorous lives of celebrities. "Mama, I want the dress Tiwa Savage wore in that music video," she'd exclaim, her voice filled with longing. Every day on her way to school, Adaobi would watch enviously as elegant women in sleek cars passed by, dressed in the finest clothes, their bags gleaming with designer logos. "Mummy, one day I will be like them," she would say with conviction. "I'll wear the best wigs and carry bags that everyone will admire." Her mother would laugh, thinking it was just childish dreams. "My daughter, it's good to dream, but remember to work hard and be content with what you have." But Adaobi was not one to be content. Even in school, while her friends carried simple bags and wore uniforms like everyone else, she would always find a way to stand out. Whenever her father bought her school shoes, she would complain, "Daddy, this one is too cheap. Don't you see what my friends are wearing?" By the time Adaobi reached secondary school, her love for luxury had grown. Despite her parents' struggles, she always managed to find a way to get the latest trends. In her school, she was known for her extravagant style. She always looked polished with her well-manicured nails, carried expensive handbags, and even had gold jewelry to match. Her friends always asked her, "Ada, where do you get all these things? Are you sure you're not hiding a billionaire father somewhere?" Adaobi would laugh and brush off their questions. She never told them that behind her glamorous lifestyle were older men, rich, married, and single men who were willing to spoil her with gifts. At 16, she was already dating men who were twice her age, and she loved the attention and gifts they showered on her. Adaobi's mother would say to her husband, "This girl is always coming home with new things. I don't know how she does it." Mr. Obi, tired from a long day at work, would shake his head. "Maybe she has friends who gift her these things. Leave the girl alone." But Mrs. Obi's motherly instincts told her something wasn't right. By the time Adaobi entered university, her taste for luxury had grown even more. She moved into the most expensive hostel on campus, her room filled with designer bags, high-end perfumes, and the latest wigs. She was the talk of the school, with everyone assuming she was from a wealthy home. Her dating life became a central part of her university experience. Adaobi didn't bother with boys her age. Instead, she was drawn to wealthy, older men, both single and married. They took her on trips, bought her expensive gifts, and made sure she was the envy of her peers. She was living the life she had always dreamed of, but it came with a price. One of the men in her life, Emeka, a young businessman, fell deeply in love with her. Unlike the others, he didn't just want to shower her with gifts, he wanted to marry her. Emeka adored her beauty and intelligence, but more than anything, he admired her confidence. He didn't care that he couldn't buy her all the expensive things she liked, he just wanted to love her. One evening, as they sat in an upscale restaurant, Emeka looked across the table and said, "Adaobi, I love you. I want you to be my wife." Adaobi stared at him, momentarily surprised. "Marriage? Emeka, you can't be serious." "I am. I've been thinking about this for a long time. I want to build a future with you." Adaobi laughed, shaking her head. Build a future? Emeka, you're sweet, but you don't have enough money to maintain the kind of lifestyle I want. I need a man who can take care of me, buy me everything I need, and fly me to Dubai or the Maldives for vacations, not someone who will struggle to buy me lunch. Emeka frowned. I may not be a billionaire, but I can provide for you. I love you, Adaora. Isn't that more important? Adaobi waved her hand dismissively. Love? What am I supposed to do with love? I need more than that. I want a life where I can fly to Dubai for the weekend, shop in Paris, and never worry about money. It's better to cry in a private jet than smile in a small car. Emeka's heart sank. Is money all that matters to you? Adaobi looked him dead in the eye. Yes, Emeka. I'm sorry, but if you can't give me the luxury I deserve, then I can't marry you. Devastated, Emeka walked out of her life, but Adaobi didn't look back. She continued to chase after wealth, dating more affluent men, hoping that one day she would land the perfect, wealthy husband who would give her everything she wanted. Meanwhile, back home, Adaobi's parents remained unaware of their daughter's secret life. Her father, who had now retired, believed that Adaora was focused on her studies. Mrs. Obi, however, couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. One day, during a family gathering, Adaobi's mother sat her down. Adaobi, you've changed so much. Where are you getting all these things from? Mama, I told you, I have friends who give me things. I have connections. Besides, I'm working part-time at a fashion boutique in school. Don't worry about me. Her mother sighed deeply. Be careful, Adaobi. The world is not as simple as you think. Money isn't everything. Adaobi looked up, irritated. Mama, please, I'm tired of hearing that. You don't understand the kind of life I want. Mrs. Obi shook her head sadly. Your father and I may not have given you riches, but we gave you love and a good name. Don't throw that away chasing after money. Adaobi rolled her eyes, tired of the conversation. She was determined to live life on her terms, no matter what her parents thought. Adaobi's lifestyle continued to climb to new heights. Her latest blessing came in the form of a sleek, shiny car, a red Mercedes-Benz. One of the older men Adaobi was involved with, Chief Ola, a wealthy businessman in his 50s, was particularly generous. He had a weakness for young, beautiful girls, and Adaobi knew just how to use that to her advantage. Over time, Chief Ola had taken Adaobi on trips to Abuja, Dubai, and even London, showering her with expensive gifts and luxury items. But one day, he outdid himself. Adaobi, my princess, he said one afternoon as they sat by the poolside of his mansion in Lekki. You've been so good to me. I think it's time I reward you properly. Adaobi's eyes lit up. Reward me? What do you mean, Chief? Chief Ola grinned. I have a surprise for you. He took her by the hand and led her to the front of his mansion, where a brand new, sleek red Mercedes-Benz was parked. The sunlight reflected off its polished surface, making it gleam like a diamond. Adaobi gasped. Chief, is this for me? All yours, my dear, Chief Ola said, handing her the keys with a smug smile. You deserve nothing but the best. She squealed in excitement, hugging him tightly. Chief, thank you. You're the best. She couldn't believe her luck. Her very own car, a luxury car at that. She had seen some of the rich kids in school driving around campus, and now she would be one of them. Back at university, Adaobi made sure everyone saw her in her new ride. She drove the Mercedes-Benz with pride, her sunglasses on and music blasting as she cruised through the campus gates. That evening, as students walked past the hostel, Adaobi deliberately made sure to be seen stepping out of the Mercedes, casually tossing her car keys in her hand. As expected, heads turned, whispers followed, and in no time, word spread like wildfire. Did you hear? Adaobi just got a new Benz, one student said to another. Adaobi, from the accounting department. She must be dating some rich guy. She's really living the life. I wish I had what she has, another girl said enviously. Adaobi soaked up the attention like a sponge. Driving the car around campus became her favorite pastime. She would cruise through the school gates, making sure everyone saw her, feeling like she was on top of the world. To everyone around her, she was the queen of the university, a girl with everything, even though they had no idea how she acquired it all. Her close friend Nkechi, however, was worried. One evening, she sat Adaobi down in her room. "Ada, where did you get that car? It's not just a regular car. Oh, this is a Mercedes, and I know your parents can't afford this." Adaobi laughed, brushing her long, freshly done hair out of her face. "Nkechi, relax. I have connections." "Connections?" Nkechi raised an eyebrow. "Does your family even know you have a car?" "No, and they don't need to know. My business is my business," Adaobi replied nonchalantly. "But Ada, these men, these connections, don't you ever worry about what might happen? What if your parents find out? Or worse, what if something goes wrong?" Adaobi waved her off. "Nkechi, stop worrying yourself. I know what I'm doing. Besides, life is short. Why should I struggle when I can enjoy the best things right now?" Nkechi sighed. "I just hope you're being careful. These things, they come with consequences, you know." Adaobi rolled her eyes. "Please, spare me the lecture. I'm not interested." Despite Nkechi's concerns, Adaobi continued living her glamorous life. She became even more daring, driving her new car everywhere, attending the most exclusive parties, and surrounding herself with other wealthy students. She was the talk of the university, and to her, that was all that mattered. Adaobi carefully maintained a double life. While she enjoyed her lavish lifestyle on campus, flaunting her wealth, she made sure to keep her parents unaware. During holiday visits back home, she would deliberately leave her Mercedes behind and take a regular bus, blending in with everyone else. It was her way of keeping the two worlds separate. At home, she played the role of the dutiful daughter, telling her parents she was working hard on her studies and working part-time at a fashion boutique. "University is going well, Papa," Adaobi would say during family dinners. "I'm just focused on passing my exams." Mr. Obi, proud of his daughter, would nod approvingly. "That's good, Adaobi. Keep it up. Remember, education is the key to a bright future." Mrs. Obi, however, still couldn't shake her suspicion. "You don't look like you're suffering at school, Adaobi. How come you always have new clothes when you come home?" Adaobi would laugh it off. "Mama, I save my money. You know I'm good at managing my things." Mrs. Obi would frown, unconvinced, but she didn't push further. After all, Adaobi was doing well in school, and that was what mattered. Adaobi went back to school and continued living her extravagant lifestyle. At an exclusive high society event, Adaobi crossed paths with Mr. Williams, a multi-billionaire tycoon known for his vast empire of properties, luxury cars, and even a private jet. His reputation preceded him, not just for his wealth, but also for his failed marriages. Several wives had left him over the years due to his domineering and controlling ways. But for Adaobi, none of that mattered. She wasn't interested in his past, or how he treated his ex-wives. All she cared about was the life of luxury he could offer her. For her, Mr. Williams was a golden ticket to endless wealth. He lavished her with gifts, expensive vacations, and the kind of life she had always dreamed of. Before long, Mr. Williams proposed, and Adaobi, eager to finally secure her dream of living like a true Lagos big girl, accepted without hesitation. The wedding was grand, an event that everyone in the city talked about for months. Adaobi wore a custom-made wedding gown, and they flew to Paris for their honeymoon in his private jet. For a while, she believed she had finally achieved everything she wanted. Life, on the surface, seemed perfect. Every week, they were off to some exotic location: the Maldives, Santorini, Dubai, and Paris. Adaobi posted pictures of herself in luxury resorts, sipping cocktails on yachts, and lounging on private beaches. Behind the glamorous pictures, Adaobi's new life wasn't the fairy tale she had imagined. Mr. Williams, though wealthy, was a controlling and emotionally distant man. He rarely consulted her on decisions, and slowly, their once exciting relationship turned cold. He imposed strict rules, monitoring her actions, controlling where she went, and even questioning what she wore. Adaobi soon realized she was living under his thumb, with little freedom to be herself. The expensive trips and gifts continued, but the joy she had once found in them faded. She felt more like an accessory than a wife. One evening, after a long day spent shopping in Dubai, Adaobi returned to the hotel, only to find Mr. Williams in a foul mood. "Where have you been?" he demanded, his voice sharp. "I was shopping," Adaobi replied nervously, holding up her shopping bags. "Shopping again?" he barked. "All you do is spend my money. You're just like the rest of them, aren't you? You think you can marry me and take over my wealth? Let me tell you, Adaobi, you will never control anything in this house. You're only here because I allow you to be." His words stung like a slap to her face. Adaobi had never expected this side of him. "But I thought we were partners," she stammered. "Partners? Don't be foolish," he snapped. "You're here for one reason, to look pretty and show off when I need you to. You have no say in my life or my decisions. Understand that." For the first time, Adaobi felt the weight of her choices pressing down on her. She realized that all the money and luxury meant nothing if she wasn't truly happy. She had gotten what she wanted: riches, luxury, private jets, but it had come at a price she had never imagined. Months passed, and things only grew worse. Mr. Williams became more controlling, monitoring her every move. Adaobi was no longer the carefree girl she once was. Her once bright smile was replaced with a forced grin in pictures. The expensive trips and designer clothes no longer made her happy. She was miserable, trapped in a life that looked perfect from the outside, but was filled with loneliness and regret. One evening, as she sat in their private jet, flying back from another vacation that had brought her no joy, she stared out the window, tears streaming down her face. She remembered the words she had once said to Emeka: "It's better to cry in a private jet than to laugh in a small car." Now, she understood how wrong she had been. Though she was flying in a private jet, she had never felt more alone in her life. She longed for the simplicity of the past, for someone who truly loved her, not for her beauty or for her status, but for who she was. One evening, while sitting in her mansion, scrolling through her phone, she saw a picture of Emeka on Facebook. He was smiling, standing next to his wife and 2 children in front of a modest but happy-looking home. The picture of his simple life filled her with a pang of regret that she could no longer ignore. She whispered to herself, "Emeka loved me, truly loved me, and I pushed him away for this. For money." Adaobi realized she had made the wrong choice. She had traded love for luxury, but the luxury came with no happiness, only misery. Emeka, the man she had rejected for not being wealthy enough, was now living a happy, peaceful life with someone who truly appreciated him. As she continued to live in her golden cage, Adaobi reflected on the path her life had taken. The expensive bags, wigs, and private jets no longer mattered. The life she thought she wanted had only brought her sorrow. She had married into wealth, but she had lost something far more valuable: the chance at real love and happiness. And so, Adaobi continued flying in private jets, but now her tears were real, and her regret was deep. She wished she had chosen love over gold, wishing she could trade all the luxury in the world for a simple, small car, and the warmth of a loving heart. But it was too late. The moral lesson of Adaobi's story is that material wealth and luxury cannot replace true love and happiness. Adaobi pursued a life of riches and status, thinking it would bring her fulfillment, but she ultimately realized that genuine relationships and emotional well-being are far more valuable than money. The story teaches that choosing love, contentment, and inner peace over materialism leads to a more meaningful and joyful life. Additionally, it highlights the importance of making choices based on what truly matters to the heart, rather than societal pressures or superficial desires.